Hi, and welcome to the Habitat Center. I'm your host Nicholas, and these are music capsules that we've put together for you on the run up and run down to and from World Music Day 2023, which is on the 21st of June. So, in these capsules, what we're doing is we're giving you sort of two sections. The first section tackles a certain genre of music. It could be Indian classical, Western classical, could be jazz, could be world music, could be anything. And in the second capsule, we give you little peeks into what happens on World Music Day in different parts of the world. And this is going to hopefully encourage you to do your own YouTubing and Vimeoing and finding out music that you really enjoy. And hopefully, you'll listen to more music, you'll play more music, and you will enjoy more music. So, moving forward, let's just have a look at what World Music Day is actually about and how did it begin. So you have one very inspired man, someone called Maurice Fleuret. Maurice Fleuret joined the Ministry of Culture in France in October in 1981. And the first thing Maurice Fleuret does is he commissions a survey where he finds that 1 out of every 2 people in France plays a musical instrument. So, that's a very unique thing. Roughly half the population can play and the other half can listen. So, that's a fantastic situation. And he put his mind to it and he said, now how can I bring all the players and dancers and listeners out onto the street together, enjoying and making music? So, in 1982, he put together what he called the Fête de la Musique, and that's where it began. So on that day, it was the summer solstice, and everyone was out enjoying music. The idea caught on, and now it takes place across 700 cities, across 120 countries. It's become quite a world phenomenon now, which is why we're also enjoying ourselves with this music to celebrate this particular day. So today, the genre of music that we have in this capsule for you is Western classical music. A little bit about the timelines in Western classical music. Music from about 1150 to about 1400 AD is referred to as medieval music, obviously. Renaissance music covers circa 1400 to about 1600. The Baroque era extends from 1600 to 1750, and the classical period is from 1750 to 1830. The early Romantic period covers 1830 to about 1860, and the late Romantic period takes up from 1860 to about 1920. Music from 1920 to the present is referred to as 20th and 21st century music, very commonsensically. So, Western classical music can be of many kinds. Music written for orchestras of different sizes and configurations is very simply called orchestral music. Music for groups of players ranging from 2 to 9 is banned under the term chamber music. There is music for soloists too in chamber music. Music drama that involves orchestras big or small, usually on stage, is called opera. And then there is a huge mountain of liturgical music written for the church, which also involves instruments and orchestras. You'll hear all kinds of terms. You'll hear terms such as the sonata, the symphony, tone poems, pascaglias, caprices, concertos, opuses, whatnot. And you know what? Whenever you come across any of these terms, you do what you do in any normal circumstance. You ask Siri, you ask Alexa, okay, what's a concerto? What is, a symphony? What is a sonata? And Siri and Alexa between them will tell you, or Google will tell you what is behind all this terminology. They'll give you a good starter answer, which can then enable you to dig down further. A very good rule of thumb when it comes to Western classical music is, you may not understand it right now. Don't worry about that. Just enjoy it. Understanding will come over time when you hear it time and time again in different ways. Understanding comes then. Initially, just enjoy it instinctively. Okay, don't be scared of it. All our favorite movies use tons and tons of classical music. Our Hindi movies, our regional language movies, all of them use Western classical music in some form or the other to add thrill and drama and excitement to all your favorite scenes. Okay, all that comes from here. So, nothing to be scared of, just open your eyes to it, look hard at it, and enjoy it. Let's get to different forms of Western classical music from different time periods by all kinds of musicians. So let's jump straight to the videos. Let's look at some early music from the Renaissance period. We have two composers that we'll look at. Very large works, very complex works, very beautiful works, hair-raisingly beautiful works. So the first is an English composer by the name of William Byrd, who wrote his music during England's pre- and post-Reformation years. All this happens across his own lifetime, between 1540 and 1623. He writes polyphonic music. Please Google that, Siri that, Alexa that. Polyphonic music. And this kind of music is what swayed England in those years. So here is a piece from William Byrd. Claudio Monteverdi lived between 1567 and 1643 in what is now Italy and Venice. His master work is Vespro della Beata Vergine of 1610. Now this particular work is an evening prayer. Okay. Now this was written for two choirs. Just imagine this huge space. So there are two choirs, there's an orchestra, and all across the space in different places are different singers and instruments. So this man was thinking spatial music even back then. This is 1610, okay? So, and this was primarily written for St. Mark's Basilica in Venice. Venice was a very unusual place at that time. All the trade from the east and the west used to converge at Venice, as a result of which not just trade happened there, a lot of musical ideas also sort of came together at Venice, and Vespro della Beata Vergine also sort of reflects this east-west, happy-loopy kind of situation. So this work, whenever it's performed, it's huge and always thrilling to watch and hear. We then come to the truly astounding Johann Sebastian Bach. Johann Sebastian Bach graced the earth with his presence between 1685 and 1750. In fact, the whole Baroque era is defined by his life. Okay, his St. Matthew Passion, his Mass in B minor, all his oratorios, his orchestral suites, these are all fabulous to listen to. But you know, when you remove all the layers and you boil it down to one instrument, that's when you hear the sheer genius just singing through one voice. And the works that he wrote for solo violin and solo cello, these are the ones that are really worth hearing. What we've selected for you is the last suite, the sixth suite of the suites for solo cello. This video is recorded in an incredible space. The videography is amazing, and the performance, it's really as if the performer is speaking to something far beyond his own time. You can see it in his eyes, and you can see it in that playing. Wonderful video. Switching from the Baroque to the classical era, let's take in music by the three big guys of this particular period. And they are Franz Joseph Haydn, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Ludwig van Beethoven. So Haydn is the oldest among all these three. If you look at the progression, it's Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven. Haydn lived long enough to see Beethoven being launched as a phenomenon in Vienna. The relationship between Mozart and Haydn also was a very fond one. Mozart sort of viewed him as some kind of a master composer, a guru, and very fondly called him Papa Haydn. For all these three, we've selected a common music form. It's called a concerto. Okay? Now, what is a concerto? A concerto is a sort of written out, predetermined jugalbandi between an instrument or group of instruments and the orchestra. So the instruments have something to say, the orchestra has something in response to whatever the instruments say. And that's how the whole piece progresses. So in Haydn's case, we have this video of this absolutely gorgeous little trumpet concerto that he wrote, where the solo instrument is the trumpet and there's the whole orchestra. It's a very short concerto. So try and listen to it in one go, then you'll be able to appreciate the arc that concertos had in those days. Okay, so here is Haydn's trumpet concerto. So moving on to Mozart, Mozart was absolutely prodigious. His output was astounding. When Philips, the music company, released a complete Mozart series of CDs, there were, I think, 200 CDs in that collection, just Mozart's music, okay? Of all that huge amount of music, orchestral music of every kind, chamber music of every kind, operas of every kind, liturgical music of every kind, keeping in mind that, we're going concerto by concerto, we've got his clarinet concerto. In this particular video, it's been played with absolute simplicity and tremendous charm. It's not often you find performances of this caliber, so dip into it as you like. And then we have Beethoven's triple concerto. Okay, now why is it called a triple concerto? Because there's a piano, there's a violin, and there's a cello. And all these three instruments are pitted against the orchestra. So the violin says something, the piano says something, the cello says something, they say something all together, and the orchestra responds. Wonderful construction. Just as a piece of music architecture, it's lovely to listen to. But you never listen to it as architecture, you listen to it as music. And that's what's so wonderful about this piece. Enjoy this video. So we had three concertos from the biggies of the classical era, Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven. From there, we move on to the heart of the Romantic era. Now, probably the most endearing Romantic composer is Tchaikovsky, and in his repertoire, the place of Swan Lake. We then move forward many decades to the symphonies of Gustav Mahler. There is probably no one so tragic when it comes to writing symphonies. Each one has layers of message and none of it is too cheerful. And when it comes to that, his Ninth Symphony is the most heartbreaking ever. So from the beginning to the end, there's this palpable sense of very deep, searing sorrow for some kind of unfolding tragedy. This one is best taken in small doses. All together, it's heavy. From Soviet Russia, we then go to England in the post-World War II years. And we choose the music of a composer called Ralph Vaughan Williams. Ralph Vaughan Williams, like a lot of composers of post-World War II England, was completely disgusted by World War II and World War I. They had seen all of England's youth being poured into war and completely wasted in death. So, almost as a backlash, they wrote very pastoral music. And this piece that we've chosen for you is called The Lark Ascending. The lark is a little bird, and so there's this flight of this bird, and the music too, gently circles upward towards the light. Very meditative, gorgeous piece of work. And to close, we go straight to the absolute moderns, where we encounter the music of Giorgi Ligeti, and we visit what he calls the six bagatelles. These are six short pieces. Okay, Ligeti is best known for what are known as shifting tone centers. Usually they're very sonorously shifted, but here there's a very playful exploration of the same concept, very, very quickly, very fast paced. So, the six bagatelles by Giorgi Ligeti. So we've had a little survey of Western classical music, all the way from Renaissance music right to the moderns. I hope you've enjoyed that bit. So from there we move very, very laterally out, and now we move into that section where we're looking at bits and pieces of performances from World Music Day across the years. Our first video in our World Music Day section brings you the very unfamiliar and yet quite exciting sounds of Senegalese music from a very informal music session in Dakar. So these singers are playing and singing to each other. It's a very call response thing. Very enjoyable. We then move on to a spectacular full-length reggae concert in France. I had never heard reggae sung in French. This is reggae with a fairly French sensibility. It's a crossover sensibility, but nevertheless very, very enjoyable. That's what World Music Day is about. Mixing and matching stuff to your own satisfaction. So enjoy this one.
te fais. Tu kisses maîtresse, moi tu manquais. Quand tu dors dans les bras, et nous l'amour des oranges, mais vine l'église en pivot. Je te remercie, vraiment les pacifiques pour remercier toi. Même mécanisme les cœurs, et c'est toi qui vas manquer. Dans de côté, pour un somme comblé, oui, vraiment il ne faut pas manquer. Ton présence garantie, pour espérer nous reste toujours unis, ouais, pour la vie. Oh, toi. Suis en l'amour plus longtemps, mon c'est resté à la bonne trouver. Dis-moi qui a désigné toi, pour plus moi, pour vivre avec toi. Oui, ça. Tu vas me parole, moi. C'est qui souvent mon parti, oui mon amour, je te remercie, vraiment les pacifiques pour remercier toi. Même mécanisme les cœurs, et c'est toi qui rends moi fier. Dans de côté, pour un son. Nos présences garanties, pour espérer nous reste toujours unis. Oui, pour la vie.
Then we follow it up with a sampling of the street concert scene in Paris in this video that follows.
Aujourd'hui 21 juin, c'est la fête de la musique.
And to round things up for this particular session, we have a not very long but very profound little composition and performance by veteran musician on the sarod, Amjad Ali Khan. So that's what we have in this capsule. I hope you have enjoyed this. We'll be back with, I think, another capsule quite soon. So do watch this space. Go out there, listen to a lot more music, play a lot more music if you can, and above all, enjoy that music.